Call the meeting to order. We'll stand and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We do have an agenda adjustment, and the meeting is being videotaped. The agenda adjustment is going to take place right now. Sylvia, would you come up and stand up, please? Hi, Sylvia. Sylvia is our, I don't know whether contract or procurement officer or what, but she's done a great job in our business office since she's been with us. So we thought we'd give her a little written commendation tonight. South Shore Regional School District would like to congratulate you on earning your Mass Certified Public Purchasing Official credential. This designation reflects your hard work and ability to manage complex procurement procedures. You have been an excellent addition to our business office, Sylvia, and the school committee appreciates your continued success. And you have worked beyond the call of duty. That's for Bob. Thank you, Sylvia. Keep that the Tom Memorial copy for your service jacket, okay? Thank you.
While you're here, Sylvia, can we ask some questions about purchase order number? Forget that.
And and thanks for keeping Tom honest.
There we go. It's a struggle.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments from the floor tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on. Approve the minutes for June 20th, school committee meeting, June 6th, negotiating subcommittee meeting, June 20th, negotiating subcommittee meeting, and June 20th, audit subcommittee meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Hanover, second by Whitman. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Reports. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Moeller. In your package tonight, we have the June 30th preliminary treasurer's report based upon the numbers that existed last week, but at the reporting time we sent out to the members. Page 1, of course, is our normal cash balance numbers. Overall, about $4.9 million in our operating accounts and savings accounts. The OPEB reserve account is at about $655,000. Page 2 is our revenue. Again, all of our assessments were billed out during the course of the year and paid. Rockland was the one straggler that wasn't paid in May and was paid in June. That's the $413,000 that came in. Everything else in the bottom side, investment income, miscellaneous income. Our Chapter 70, again, we got the full allotment. We actually got about $10,000 more in Chapter 70 than originally expected, which is good. And we also received our final installment for regional transportation, which was $244,000. So with that regional transportation receipt, we are over our budgeted number by about $124,000. So overall, the revenue was strong for this year. Final page 3 is a listing of expenses. And pretty much, this is preliminary. These numbers they've changed today on moving around some final numbers. So these aren't the numbers that we'll close the year with, but they will be within about 99% of where we're going to end up. As you can see, the expenditures for the month were about $2.5 million. The big number for June is the payroll number. What happens is that all the teachers are on a 12-month contract from September 1 through August 31st. So once we hit the close of the fiscal year, we accrue their summer salaries. So that's why our normal payroll might be $600,000 or $700,000 per month. This year it's $1.7 million because we accrue the July and August payments for our teachers. So that's one of the big items that pops in here. Other than that, everything is on target. We do have a list of budget transfers just to clean up a lot of items. Again, Tom and I have worked together the last 2 months to identify savings in the budget line items. We'll have some surplus recommendations coming through in a few minutes. But as we identify a surplus, then Tom allows some departments to overspend what the budget was set up for this fiscal year to pretty much make sure the educational process is complete. And again, as for the audience, our budget process starts in November, so we're usually projecting 18, 19 months out as far as where we're going to be financially. And again, things change. So we end up with surpluses. We have teachers that retire. We have savings on budget line items. Health insurance numbers, we project 19 months in advance. Again, they don't come to fruition. We actually have better health insurance news this past year than we expected, so we have a budget savings in our health insurance line item. So overall, we have budget savings. We identify them. Tom and his team go through and make adjustments to use those funds at times to better enhance the educational process of the students. So overall, things are good. This budget surplus line item on this page is about a $700,000 number where we didn't spend the numbers through the budget, but we'll come through with the surplus recommendations in a minute. So that's the treasurer's report.
Any discussion on it before they have a motion?
So moved.
Whitman, second Abington. Any further discussion? Seeing none, motion to accept the treasurer's report. All in favor? Aye.
In your package is a page of, there's one budget transfer entry for this month. Again, as I mentioned, there's various items that come up to play with the changing of expense numbers. So we're requesting $98,000 worth of budget transfers. We had a savings of significant savings in the health insurance account, so we're using the savings in the health insurance to fund these other budget deficits. One budget deficit that pops up was the electricity bill. Because we have such a great deal with Situate, we've been able to save a lot of money over the last 4 years with the solar panel agreement that we have. This year, there was a little glitch in the system where Situate, the solar panel went down for a bit, 6 to 8 weeks. So we didn't get our credits, we didn't get any energy produced there, so we ended up having to pay some National Grid bills over and above what our expectations were. But it's back up online, it's humming along pretty well, so we shouldn't have a problem in the future. But these are $98,000 worth of budget transfers.
Need a motion for that?
Do you want, on these motion, proposed motions? Oh, this one?
Yeah, that's-
Okay.
We'll just take a vote on that.
Motion to approve.
Hanover,
Second.
second Whitman.
Do you need them listed?
No, this one.
With the 98,087?
Yeah. The fiscal 18 closing.
All in,
Oh, sorry.
any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you. Fiscal 18 closing, we've been sharpening the pencil up through about 5:30 this afternoon to make sure that we had everything in presentation form for you tonight. Things are going well. Within the business office, Tricia and Pat are working closely for the payroll. Pat's with us probably through the end of the month, training training Tricia on all the aspects of the payroll and the payroll officer's job. Things are going well. Tricia's catching on and going through the daily operations, which there shouldn't be any major problems. There'll always be issues with quarterly or yearly items that were part of Pat's agenda. Again, Tricia has notes on all those items, and we shouldn't have any major problems. She's learning the systems, she's learning the computer system, and everything's going well. So everything should be fine for the closing. And then finally, we have in your that handed out tonight was a listing of recommendations for the end of the year surplus recommendations. There are 8 motions that I'd like to entertain, and I'll read each one and then explain what they represent. Motion 1 is it's hereby moved to encumber $742,319.65 of the 2017-2018 non-resident tuition in order to reduce the 2018-2019 assessments to the district towns. This motion, pretty much, this is the money we collected this school year for our non-resident tuitions. And as we go through the budget process, you may remember that we use the collections for this year's students to reduce the assessments for next year. So all this motion does is it moves this number from a current year collection piece into an encumbered that we can then use it for fiscal 19.
Do you want to take these motions after you explain them, Jim?
I think we do them one at
Individually?
a time.
Hmm?
I think we should do them one at a time.
Right, so we're gonna do this one first.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make that motion on motion one.
I'll second.
Seconded by Hanover. Any further discussion on motion one?
Great.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Outstanding.
Motion two, it is hereby moved to credit $10,974.24 to surplus revenue for warrants payable for the 2016-2017 budget.
I'll make that motion that we,
Whitman made the motion, seconded by Abington.
Again,
And-
this item is, every year, like Sylvia has just put together our warrants payable number of all the bills that are in the system today, all the POs that we've promised to purchase and so forth. Every year something happens where something that we planned on purchasing doesn't get purchased. So we have to turn that back, and that's what this $10,000 represents, is items we thought we were gonna get on June of 17 that we didn't end up getting, so we have to close it out to surplus revenue.
All in favor of the motion? Unanimous.
Motion number three, it is hereby moved to debit $17.49 from surplus revenue to accrued salaries for the 2016-2017 budget.
I'll make that motion.
Whitman made the motion, seconded by Abington. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous.
Motion four, it is hereby moved to encumber $124,486 from surplus revenue, excess regional transportation funding, to fund a regional transportation fund to be expensed in fiscal year 2018-2019.
I will make that motion.
Made by Whitman, seconded by Hanson? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Any
Again, this-
further discussion?
This number is the excess regional transportation. This was part of the planning process with the new bus lease that we have going out. A matter of trying to lessen the impact of getting all the buses that are coming through. We've set aside this money. We have money in stabilization. We have money in the budget next year to pay the lease, and this will help spread those costs over the length of the lease.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous.
Motion five, it is hereby moved to encumber $365,000 from surplus revenue for safety and security expenses per recommendations of the superintendent director per the attached schedule.
I'll make that motion.
Made by Whitman, seconded by Cohasset.
Yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous.
It is hereby moved to encumber $383,000 from surplus revenue for maintenance in buildings and grounds expenses needs per the recommendation of the superintendent director per the attached schedule.
I'll make that motion.
Whitman made the motion, seconded by Cohasset. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous.
It is hereby moved to encumber $113,912 from excess and deficiency for instructional technology and vocational equipment and supplies per the recommendations of the superintendent director per the attached schedule.
And I'll make that motion.
Made by Whitman, seconded by Hanson. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous.
And it is hereby moved to debit $7,693.44 to surplus revenue for the reserve for encumbrances for the 2016-2017 budget.
And I'll make that motion.
Made by Whitman, seconded by Cohasset. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Do you have anything else?
No, I think I'm done for the night, right?
Okay.
Oh,
At this
no.
point of the committee, I pass the gavel to our secretary treasurer, and he is now in control of the meeting.
Okay.
No
I
power,
just like to do that.
little power.
Okay, every July, the school committee of the South Shore Regional School District reorganizes. Within your package in your green folders, there's a list of ballots for position of chairman and the position of vice chairman, which we voted on tonight. Historically, each member gets to vote for a member who they would like to be chairman for this year. What we'll do is we'll do the chairmanship first, and then the vice chairmanship. Once a vote is made, the top two vote getters will then have a runoff for the second round of elections. So the first round will be for everybody to make their choice for chairman for the 2018-2019 school year. I gather the votes, I count the votes, and then the top two vote getters will re-vote and do a final vote for that. We'll repeat that cycle for the vice chairman as well. So at this point, I would ask that members of the board please, vote for the individual you would like to be chairman for the next school year. Pass them down. I have 6 votes, so. Yes, you do. I announced the names, who voted for who?
Yes.
Yes, I did, okay. Tom Petrozelli has voted for Robert Moeller. George Cooney has voted for Robert Moeller. Dan Salvucci has voted for Chris Amico. Robert Haywood has voted for Chris Amico. Robert Moeller has voted for Robert Moeller. And Christopher Amico has voted for Christopher Amico. So at this point, Christopher Amico has 3 votes and Robert Moeller has 3 votes. So those 2 gentlemen are the 2 top vote getters, so we will ask for you to please, again, choose between either Chris Amico or Robert Moeller. Second round of voting. Dan Salvucci votes for Chris Amico. George Cooney votes for Robert Moeller. Chris Amico votes for Chris Amico. Tom Petrozelli votes for Chris Amico. Robert Haywood votes for Robert Moeller. Robert Moeller votes for Robert Moeller. We are still tied 3-3. So at this point, we will have round 3 of voting.
Council Cohen?
I believe you have 3 sets of votes in multiple sets. So at this point, I would ask everybody to please vote again for the position of chairman between Christopher Amico and Robert Moeller. Round 3 of voting. George Cooney votes for Robert Moeller. Christopher Amico votes for Christopher Amico. Dan Salvucci votes for Christopher Amico. Tom Petrozelli votes for Christopher Amico. Robert Haywood votes for Robert Moeller. And Robert Moeller votes for Robert Moeller. We are still deadlocked at 3 votes apiece. We would ask that, yes, we have some multiple pieces, that you again vote for your choice of chairmanship between Christopher Amico and Robert Moeller.
This is the first, Do we do rock, paper, scissors after this?
I think we are.
Round 4 of voting. Christopher Amico votes for Christopher Amico. Robert Haywood votes for Robert Mola. Tom Petrozelli votes for Christopher Amico.
I abstained.
Robert Mola is abstained. George Cooney votes for for Robert Mola. Dan Salvucci votes for Christopher Amico. At this point, Christopher Amico has 3 votes and Robert Mola has 2 votes with 1 abstention. Christopher Amico is voted in as chairman for the school committee for the school year of 2018-2019. At this point, I'd ask you to grab the papers in your folder for vice chairman, and please make a selection for the position of vice chairman.
You vote for somebody that's not here?
Vote for anybody.
That's usually how it works.
You good?
That will teach him not to show up.
I know it.
Okay. Vice chairman, the votes. George Cooney votes for John Manning. Robert Haywood votes for Robert Haywood. Tom Petrozelli votes for Robert Mahoney. Robert Mola votes for Robert Haywood. Dan Salvucci votes for Robert Haywood. Christopher Amico votes for Robert Haywood. So therefore we have 4 votes for Robert Haywood, 1 vote for Robert Mahoney, and 1 vote for John Manning. Seeing how the second place was tied, all 3 gentlemen will be in the round for the second phase of voting, so please make your selection on the second round between Robert Haywood, Robert Mahoney, and John Manning.
I thought you handed me that one.
Okay, second round of voting. Dan Salvucci votes for Robert Haywood. George Cooney votes for Robert Haywood. Christopher Amico votes for Robert Haywood. Robert Haywood votes for Robert Haywood. It just sounds funny, I'm sorry.
It does.
Tom Petrozelli votes for Robert Haywood, and Robert Mola votes for Robert Haywood. So with 6 votes, Robert Haywood is elected vice chairman of the 2018-2019 school year. Thank you, gentlemen. I hand the gavel over to Mr. Amico for the remainder of the meeting.
Congratulations, Chris.
They're both in there, yeah.
We'll give these back to Jim.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh,
Wow.
Mr. Chairman, if I may. The next item on the agenda involves subcommittee assignments. You'll find a document in your folder that lists all the current subcommittees that the school committee has. It's customary after the reorganization that members of the committee may wish to drop off of a subcommittee or be added to a subcommittee. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contact the chairman, or you can send me an email and I'll get the information to him. And we typically produce revised subcommittee assignments at the September meeting.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Next on the subcommittee, contract for secretary treasurer. Taking a vote on that.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the members of the Secretary Treasurer Evaluation Subcommittee met earlier this evening, Bob Haywood, Bob Moeller, and Tom Petrozelli, and they're bringing forward a recommendation on the Secretary Treasurer's contract, which could be made by any member of that subcommittee.
You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything.
Why don't you do one?
Okay, we met and talked to Jim. Everything seems to be going well, and we all agreed to a 2.5% increase for this year coming up, and we're looking forward to work with Jim for the next couple of years, maybe 10, maybe. So everything went well, and we were all in agreement unanimously for that.
So you need a motion to that effect? I will make a motion that we go with the recommendation of the subcommittee and giving treasurer a 2.5% increase each year. Second.
Motion made by Whitman, second by Abington. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Superintendent Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to say thank you to Bob Moeller for the last several years serving as chairman. It has been a pleasure to work with you. Will continue to work with you, but it's been, we've done a lot of great things in the last few years, Bob, so this committee will continue to do so. So thank you for your thank you for your service.
Good job, Bobby.
Yeah, excellent job.
Thanks, Bob.
Regarding summer projects updates on the agenda, we have a lot going on. But the first project I'd like to talk about, off script, is that I have to go find a new English teacher. And that's a project. But you will find in your correspondence folder a letter from John Scopoletti. John, we are very proud of John. John is going to start work as the English department head, English Language Arts coordinator for the Situate Public Schools. And he will be transitioning into mostly a supervisory role. It is an understatement to say that it is a big loss. It was very kind of John to want to write a letter to you as a committee, and that letter has been supplied to you. And I bring that up on its own merits, and also because John is here as well. And I want to thank John personally for his service for the 13 years that he's been with us. We all know the impact he's had on students here at South Shore. So that's on our project list. The easier projects we have include building a greenhouse, et cetera, et cetera. But in all seriousness, I wanted to bring that to your attention, members of the committee. Other summer projects in the world of Bob Moorhead and other include the construction of a greenhouse. We will be starting that project this summer, and we hope to have that done by the late fall. The concrete work, the installation of the greenhouse as part of our horticulture and landscape construction program. We will also be working on completing renovations on the barn locker room project, which half of it is being used by the horticulture program. The other half has been repurposed for the fact that we need expanded locker room space. And so that's being worked on as well. You probably have seen our MET1, or what we would call the machine shop. Last summer we did a great job renovating that shop and putting in a new epoxy floor. The next phase of upgrading flooring in our 1962 footprints is in automotive HVAC, automotive HVAC and the locker rooms in the building, as well as doing some flooring upgrades in the library, which will be more of a multi-purpose room next year, the student support area, and the main office. We're taking quotes right now for a sound system, an upgraded sound system in our cafeteria and gymnasium. We're working on renovating the girls' bathroom closest to the gym. And starting this week, we'll be removing the concrete archway out front. So I'll set aside a piece for each of you for sentimental reasons, for those of you needing a paperweight. But we intend to upgrade the entranceway here, seeing it as both a showcase for potentially having the restaurant have outdoor patio seating, and also a place for our horticulture program for plant sales and otherwise. That's being worked on this summer as well. So as it is with every summer, we are very diligent with your support to make necessary upgrades, so we're not doing this in any kind of crisis mode, giving the kids and staff in the building the best possible experience that we can. So certainly I'll update you on all these and other items when we get back together for our next meeting. I'd also like to say thank you to members of the committee who have already been able to sign a letter. Tom Petrozelli brought forward an idea He noticed that at our graduation ceremony, there were several of our graduates who were fortunate to receive scholarships from our Parents Association and the Viking Athletic Association. And we're in a great routine at our school committee meetings recognizing staff and students. And Tom's feeling was that this is an opportunity to say thank you to that other important stakeholder group, our parents. We know that with any organization, there's a handful, a core group of people who go above and beyond, and the folks that are running both of those organizations have done great work. So thank you. We'll get the other members of the committee not here tonight to sign the letter, and then we'll send it off to the officers of both the Viking Athletic Association and the Parents Association. I'd like at this point to turn it over to our one-man show, our principal, Mark Aubrey.
Thank you, Mr. Hickey. We are in the process of onboarding our 2 new vocational coordinators, Robert Foley and Keith Boyle. We are meeting with them weekly and in separate meetings as a large group. We're talking about new roles and new relationships for everybody in the building and the administrative team, not only myself and these 2 new gentlemen, but Ms. Ballner, our assistant principal, is taking on new responsibilities as well. So that's what we're spending a lot of our time right now. The schedule is pretty much done. We're doing some last minute tweaks as some students decide that they're leaving and some deciding they're coming in. So that is pretty much done as well. So we're getting ready to, and August 1st comes around, we're gonna really start looking at calendars and schedules and what the first day of school is gonna look like and things like that. So we've been a very productive team for the first month, and we're gonna build on that as we go along. Anybody have any questions? No? I'm gonna jump ahead on the agenda just one. There's the student handbook. In the agenda, there's a vote for the student handbook. There are no major changes this year. What we are doing, and as part of Tom and Mr. Filano and a few other people in the building, we are gonna be a much greener building, recycling-wise. So we are not printing out 750 handbooks at 150 pages apiece. We are going to share those electronically with the parents, the staff, and the students themselves. And then those parents who request a copy will print out a copy for them. But what we're doing is we're reformatting what it was so that when we put it onto the website, you'll call up that I want to see discipline, and it'll fancily switch right to the discipline page. So we're going to be very excited about easier access for all of those and allow the parents and the students to find what they're looking for instead of trying to read every single page and go through. So that's going to be an added advantage to all of them. Okay? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Aubrey. Mr. Chairman, if I may continue under unfinished business, thank you. As you know, for several months, we've been talking about a bus lease to a successor lease to the propane buses that we've been leasing for the last 3 years. So after a considerable amount of work, the consultant we worked with provided a recommendation working with me, and that's in your correspondence folder. But I'm asking you tonight to approve a 5-year bus lease, which would have the district take on 12 propane buses, and the annual amount of this lease would be $238,660. This lease is with Anderson Bluebird of Providence, Rhode Island, the same company we're currently working with on the lease we have. The lease expires 12/31/18, so these buses would be onboarded after the December vacation. We are trading in, as part of this, 4 diesel buses, so that will leave us with a 15-bus fleet, 12 propane, and 3 diesel spares.
Any discussion?
So we need a
I
motion.
have-
Or you need a motion first?
I have a question on it.
I'm new, sorry. So Bob makes a motion?
Yeah, these have seat belts in them, Tom?
They do not,
Okay, thank you.
so we need a motion for that.
Makes a
So
motion.
I'll make the motion. Did you make it? Bob,
Makes the
or-
motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Question, what I like about this, Tom, is that at the end of the contract, we get the buses and no buyout.
That's correct.
And so it's,
The terms of this lease give us some equity and positioning,
Yeah.
so that in 5 years' time, there's a market, and depending on the wishes of the committee at that time, we would be in a position to either, maybe take an entire year, because they'll all still be under at least one more year of a bumper-to-bumper warranty,
Yeah.
We have many options at the end of this next lease and no additional buyout costs.
That's a great contract, because you know, the most people, when they rent the car, at the end of the lease, they want to buy it, it costs them $9,000, $10,000, $11,000.
There's an additional
for cars,
expense.
than it would be for a bus. That's outstanding contract, it's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
New business?
No, in favor.
You would have voted.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Motion and second. If you have a motion and a
Oh,
second.
okay.
I'll vote.
Right, so you got-
Motion
vote
second.
on it. So you can vote on it
Want to
now.
vote on it?
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'll get it.
Thank you very much.
You'll get there.
Mr. Chairman?
All right, yep, go ahead, Tom, move on to new business.
Thank you.
Superintendent evaluation.
My evaluation, which is an annual public meeting of the committee, is the next item on the agenda. You will see a copy of the draft evaluation document in your packets. This is not a matter for action for tonight. The process would work as it has in the past. Committee members are encouraged, invited to make comment on their own individual copy and supply those comments to the chair. And at our next meeting, this would be on the agenda for a vote. The chairman would compile any feedback and then present an evaluative document for a vote. So this is informational for tonight and will be an action item at our next meeting.
Did you, can I have a copy? I don't have a copy. Can I have a copy? I have to print that out at home.
Save the ink, we got it done.
Yeah.
All right. So the August school committee meeting schedule, I take it that's not having the school committee meet in August?
Historically, Mr. Chairman, it has not been a required vote, but it has been the committee's practice to not meet in August. And assuming that the consensus remains the same, our next full business meeting would be the third Wednesday of September without objection.
You need a vote on
Sounds
that?
good.
We do not.
No, okay, everybody,
Sounds
Works
good.
for me.
okay.
See you in September.
I'll be a little better then, so. Student handbook, 2018, 2019.
It's already been discussed.
Mark already
That's
touched
right.
on that, there were just some minor changes made
Correct.
to the book. Make a motion,
I'll make a motion.
Handle will make the motion.
Second.
Second by
No,
Bob. No vote? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Surplus declaration, we do them all as one,
Yes, we
Mhm.
can.
all right? First one, library, assorted books, carpentry, Delta, attendance Insaw, Unisaw, history chair, physical education wellness, ping pong table 3, floor hockey nets 4, volleyball coaching stand, and volleyball post pads 3, culinary textbooks 2, and teacher guide 1, allied health, home care textbook 2080.
I'll make that motion.
Whitman makes the motion,
And I'll second it.
second by Cohasset. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's like warrants to vote.
You do the.
Oh, I get to do
You
it
get
now.
through
Wow.
warrants now, Bob.
Warrants for approval. Warrants number 25, 25A, 26, 26.2 payroll. Warrants 25, 26, 26.1, and 26.2 AP totaling $1,450,916.10.
I'll
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any requests for action? Vote to adjourn.
I motion with all due respect.
Motion by Whitman, second by Abington. All in favor?
Aye.